In the coldest winters of Siberia, survival begins before the sun rises. At minus 71 degrees, warmth becomes the most precious thing in the world. Inside this house live 11-year-old Nikolai and his grandmother Valentina. The cold outside is powerful enough to freeze even the air. Winter arrived earlier than anyone expected. Valentina knows the stove must never sleep for long. Even inside, the cold whispers through every wall. Another Siberian storm was coming. For Nikolai, winter feels larger than the world.
But Valentina knows something important. Fear wastes heat.
Their woodpile was smaller than most winters.
They would need more than fire to survive this cold.
Valentina remembered tricks passed down from her own grandmother.
Knowledge older than electricity.
Layers of cloth and plastic trap warm air inside. A simple barrier can hold back a brutal winter.
Every gap becomes an escape for warmth. Even dried moss can block the cold.
Slowly, the house begins to hold heat.
The fire breathes again.
Night in Siberia arrives quietly.
Warm food keeps the body strong.
Small comforts mean everything in winter. Cold enters quietly, but survival demands patience.
But embers are not fire.
At 71 degrees, even the air feels alive. Fear spreads faster than frost. Experience moves slowly but surely. Outside, Siberia showed no mercy. Inside, every breath mattered. Sometimes survival begins with a spark. But cold fights every flame. One mistake and warmth disappears. Patience becomes courage. The storm outside waited for weakness. But wisdom protects the young.
Heat escapes when we panic. Breathe slowly, Nikolai. So they stayed calm.
And slowly, the fire listened.
Light returned to the room.
Warmth begins small.
Even boiling water becomes victory.
The cold retreats inch by inch. Preparation defeats panic. But the night was not over. Cold finds every weakness.
But knowledge closes them. I see.
Every small action matters.
Warmth returns quietly.
Survival sometimes means resting.
Morning approached slowly. The coldest place on earth greeted the sun.
Another day survived.
Thanks to you.
Warmth tastes like life.
And resilience begins young. The storm finally slowed. But Siberia never truly sleeps. Endurance shapes those who live here.
Fire became their shield.
Preparation continues. The frozen world glittered. And teamwork became strength. She had seen winters before. Now he had too. A small signal of life in a frozen land. Winter remained. Survival is constant work.
Even children learn quickly here. Preparation keeps the flame alive.
Morning fully arrived. Wisdom survives longer than winter. The cold still waited. But fear no longer ruled. Survival here defines life.
And hope rises every morning.
Even the coldest land welcomes light. Each step forward proves survival. Siberia hides beauty in hardship. Strength is quiet. And warmth remains. Preparation never stops. Winter breathes slowly.
Small acts secure survival. Even joy survives here.
Resilience passes from one generation to another. Nature never rests.
But home remains their shield. The fire remembers their patience.
Warmth returns again and again. The worst had passed.
Experience cannot be replaced.
Childhood still finds moments.
Light fills the room again. Hope grows quietly.
Warmth shared becomes stronger.
Even winter yields to patience.
She had survived many winters. Now he would too. A sign of life in the coldest land.
Against the cold, they endured.
Every flame was a promise of another hour. Warmth was never wasted here. Even ice listens to patience.
The storm began to lose its voice.
Lessons learned in winter last a lifetime. Experience carries quiet strength. A signal of life in endless cold.
Small warmth becomes survival.
Even steam felt like victory. She had seen winters colder than fear. But courage steps forward anyway. A frozen world that tests every soul. Yet wisdom stands stronger.
And resilience is learned.
Morning finally conquered the night. They survived together. A tiny flame against endless winter. Inside, warmth lived.